everybody's saying hi. We're going to start.
Hi. Hi.
What I'm going to do today is I'm going to start with the soup because the soup needs a little bit of cooking. And while the soup cooks, we're going to prep the salad. So for those of you who are just joining me, we're doing lentils two ways. I'm going to do a lentil soup and I'm going to do a lentil salad. For the lentil soup, for those of you who do not have the ingredients, we're going to need 3 tablespoons of olive oil or just regular oil, whichever one you have. Now, know that the recipes can always be found on the Spanish and Portuguese website. So after that, even the video will be posted. If you want to look at it again or you missed it, you'll be able to go back, review it, look at the steps that I'm taking, and print the recipe. Cheryl, I can't see you, but I'm saying hi. If you want to send me a message on the chat, go right ahead. And use your chat to ask me questions as we're going along so that I can answer them, or even towards the end if I don't have time. But put your questions on the chat and I'll be delighted to answer them. For the cooking demo today, I'm going to be cooking on an electric pot because it's right here on the side next to me. When you're cooking at home, you can cook directly on the stove top. We're going to start with medium to high heat to saute the onions and get our base ready. And then after that, we're going to reduce the heat when we're cooking the soup. I have actually, I don't know if you can see the pot behind me, but I have a soup already cooking in the back. The beauty of the Thursday cooking is not that I get to only see you, but my girls, my daughter and my daughter-in-law that live just next door, get to have a big pot of soup for the nighttime supper on Thursday, because I have to make 2 pots and we're not too many at the house. We keep the one that I made during demo and I sent them half each of the pots that I made to show you the end result. So it's a win-win situation because my kids get to eat as well the food that I make, even though they're not here. So I'll continue with the ingredients. What I'm going to do is, while I'm talking, I'll pin the screen so you can see me. And then when I'm prepping and cooking, I'm going to pin the counter where I'm doing the prepping. And instead of seeing me, you'll be seeing the counter, so you'll see exactly what I'm doing when I'm doing it, okay? So the soup starts with 3 tablespoons of olive oil that I'm going to add to the pot right now. So I'm going to do that right now. And again, like I said, if you don't like to use olive oil, you can use regular oil. Just use an oil that can be heated up and used on the stove. Some oils are better for cooking and some oils are better to use raw. Okay, so I added 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm going to list the ingredients in terms of the vegetables that we're going to use in the soup. And then I'm going to switch the screen so that you're going to see my counter and my setup. We're going to need a large onion that we're going to dice. We're going to need 4 cloves of garlic that we're going to crush or mince. And we're going to use 2 medium carrots that we are also going to peel and chop. So we're going to start with that because we're going to saute that as our base. And then after that, we're going to add the seasoning. So I'm going to switch and show you how we cut the vegetables and how we add them to the pot. And then I'll come back and you'll be able to see me. So let me switch the pin. So give me a thumbs up if you can see my my counter and my setup. Like, just show me a thumbs up. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay. So right now, as you can see, let me try to move the cord of the pot. just gonna plug my electric pot. There we go. Okay, so I have the 2 carrots peeled, the large onion, and the 4 cloves of garlic. I'm going to take a cutting board, and we're gonna start with the chopping. Okay, so again, I peeled 2 medium carrots. I normally like to cut them in half if they're big, and then again, in half. It's easier than I have a flat surface that I can put on the counter. There we go. And then I make sort of juliennes, and then I dice them. I like to dice them small because some of my kids don't like the soup to be pureed. You're gonna see the lentil, the red lentil, they cook easily and quickly, and they disintegrate, like they become like a bit mushed, like a bit soft, and no need to puree the soup. And so if the vegetables are cut small, it's nice because you get little chunks in your mouth. Now, if somebody doesn't like to see the vegetables and you want to hide them for your kids, and you want to tell them, you know, it's a smooth soup and easy to eat, you can actually put the blender, the hand blender, in your pot and smooth it out, and then you won't feel the vegetables. So either way is fine. So I'm going to continue chopping my carrots. Again, by chopping them like that, I have a flat surface and it's easy. So I'm going to start turning on my stovetop and heating my oil. And I'm going to continue cutting my vegetable. I do the same with my onion. I cut it in half so I have a flat surface. And I'm going to dice the onion into small pieces, same size as the carrots, so they cook about the same time. And I'm going to add everything to the pot. So I'm going to do that now and continue chopping. If you guys are cooking along with me, then go right ahead, heat your oil and your pot and start adding your onion and your carrots. And we're going to add the garlic clove right after in a few minutes. I don't want the onion to brown. All I want is for the onion to actually get translucent and start to give out some aroma and soften. For this soup, I don't want to have any, not so much any caramelization or any browning of the onion, because I don't want to alter or make it the flavor of the soup. So this is just to soften and make the onions translucent. So right now I added the onion. I added already 1 carrot. And I'm going to talk to you about variations of how you can make this soup a little bit different. We're going to admit Carol. So Carol that just joined us, hello. I can see you. I hope you can hear me. Right now the view is on the chopping board, so you can see a little bit what I'm doing. For those that just joined me, we're doing lentils 2 ways. We're starting with a red lentil soup, and then we're going to do a healthy lentil salad. For the lentil soup, we started by adding 3 tablespoons. Let me just change the view so you can see me. So for the lentil soup, we started with adding 3 tablespoons to the pot. It's on medium heat. I diced 1 medium onion or 1 large onion, 2 medium carrots, and I didn't add yet, but we're going to add 4 cloves of garlic. So right now, my onions and carrots are softening, and the onions are becoming translucent. I don't want to brown them, but I'm going to just continue the cooking a little bit to release the sugars and the flavors of the vegetables. And I have 4 cloves of garlic that I peeled, and I'm going to crush them and add them to the pot. So I use the garlic crush, but if you want, you can also just dice them small. They're just going to cook down. And it's just the flavor that you want. I crush them. Sometimes for kids, they don't really like to have the pieces, but if you're going to blend the soup at the end anyways, you're not going to feel it. And by the time the soup is going to cook, everything's going to be soft and not noticeable. Okay, so I added 4 garlic cloves that I crushed. Again, you can actually feel free to chop them up. Normally, sometimes when I chop or when I puree or crush my garlic, there's always a little bit left inside the vise or the little garlic crusher. I love garlic, so I just continue dicing them little, and I add it to the pot as well. So right now in my pot, I have 1 large onion diced. Let me just pin myself. So I have 1 large onion diced, 2 medium carrots diced, and 4 cloves of garlic and 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Everything is sauteing and getting soft. And now I'm going to add my spices. So for the spices, we're going to use 1 teaspoon cumin. We're going to use 1 teaspoon paprika, 1 teaspoon garlic powder. We're going to use 1 teaspoon turmeric and 2 teaspoons of any type of chicken powder. I'm going to use a par one this time. Now, in terms of variation, the pot that's behind me that's already cooking is actually not going to be parve or meatless. I've added some marrow bones to it and made bone broth before. So the pot that's behind me is going to be meat, and the pot that's here is going to be vegetarian or parve. The soup can easily be made as well if you have homemade or store-bought chicken stock. And the variation is one of my daughter needs a little bit more iron, and I always make sure that I, give her a little bit more of the meat, and the bone broth is very nourishing. So she's going to get the meat soup today when I'm going to divide who's getting what. But again, you can substitute the water that I'm going to add to the soup for bone broth or chicken broth. Okay, so my vegetables look good. I'm going to add, like I said, all my spices. So I'm starting with 1 teaspoon cumin, 1 teaspoon turmeric. Again, adjust the spices as well to your palate. So if someone at the house doesn't like too much cumin, someone, if you don't eat garlic or whatever, just adjust. It's a very easy recipe to modify. Actually, in the pot behind me, I cheated as well. I love leeks, and I had a very nice leek. So the soup has the onion and the carrots, but the soup behind has one leak. Now, for the demonstration, I'm going to keep to the recipe, but in the back, I have the bone broth and the leek inside the soup. So we're going to add as well 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. So 1 teaspoon cumin, 1 teaspoon paprika, 1 teaspoon turmeric, 1 teaspoon garlic powder. I'm going to use 2 bay leaves. So 2 bay leaves, you can use dry or fresh. And we're going to use 2 tablespoons of chicken soup base. Now, if you don't use chicken soup base, don't be worried. You can always use a little bit more salt and pepper. When I use the chicken base, I don't use much salt or pepper. And for the soup behind, my daughter doesn't really like too much of the chicken powder, so I use salt in that other soup. Again, you mix so that the spices are combined with the vegetable. And I'm going to change my view, and I'm going to show you a little bit how that looks right now. So as you can see, this is the carrots and the onions and the spices and the bay leaves. So I'm going to continue the cooking, and I'm going to add now the dried lentils, the red lentils, and the water. So it calls for 2 cups of red lentils. So the red lentils a little bit smaller than your normal lentils, and they cook really quickly, and they're very, very nourishing. So I'm going to add 2 cups of red lentil. And you're going to see they're going to really, cook down in your soup and get really soft really quickly. But if you don't like to feel them, you're just going to blend. So I added 2 cups of red lentils, and now I'm going to add 6 to 8 cups. So it depends how liquidy you want the soup. I always start with 6 cups, and then I add a little bit more water. You want to raise the heat on the stovetop when you're adding the water, because you want the soup to come to a boil. And when it comes to a boil, you're going to reduce the heat to medium or medium to low if you want it to simmer a little bit longer. The recipe calls for medium to high heat, 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes I like that soup to cook a little bit longer, and what I do is I reduce the heat and I let it simmer a longer time. The soup that I made for you guys is, I'm going to close it now because it's ready, but it's been cooking for an hour. First, because I needed to cook the bone broth and then add everything in. And then also because I wanted it to get even more soft. So I'm stirring as I'm going along. And I'm going to add just 2 more cups. That's all I'm missing. So again, 6 to 8 cups, just judge. Now, as you're cooking, if the lentils absorb too much of the water, just add another cup. I'm only starting, like I said, with 6 cups. And then after that, I could add a little bit more. So I'm going to stop the stovetop in the back. Hi, Adele, if you're joining us just now. Just going to wait for her to connect. Okay, so now I've increased the heat on my soup, and I'm going to wait for the soup to boil. And then there's going to be one more ingredients that we're going to add. Hey Adele, I see you connected. Thank you for joining us. If you're just joining us, we're making lentils two ways, one red lentil soup and a lentil salad. We started with the soup. Right now, if I repeat, the soup has oil on the bottom, 1 onion chopped, 2 carrots, and 4 garlic cloves that we sauteed. Then I added spices, 1 teaspoon cumin, 1 teaspoon paprika, 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 1 teaspoon turmeric, and then 2 tablespoons, of the chicken powder, and 2 bay leaves. And now I just added 2 cups of red lentils and 6 cups of water. And I'm bringing the pot to a boil so that then I'll reduce it and let it simmer. The last ingredient that we're going to add is tomato sauce. The recipe calls for 1 cup of tomato sauce, so just 1 little can. Now, if you don't have tomato sauce, use just 2 big tablespoons of tomato paste. It's about the same result. And if you don't have tomato sauce and tomato paste, but you have, the tomato puree, the passata, just use that as well. So it's very giving and flexible. And if you have neither of that, you can even add just a fresh tomato, peel the outside, dice it, and add it with the juices. I'm just going to rinse my can and take the last little bit and add it. Okay, so I just added 1 cup of tomato sauce to the pot. Let me know if there's any questions or comments. Just click on the chat. For those of you who are on Facebook, if you want to, because we're streaming live, if you want to join us on Zoom, the ID number is 914-650-9809. That way you can be live with us. If not, post your questions on Facebook and I'll answer them after the demonstration or after the cooking demo. So our soup is actually not yet boiling. So I'm leaving the heat on medium to high. I'm waiting for it to boil. It's starting to get hot. And once it's going to come to a boil, I'm going to reduce the heat and we're going to let it simmer. The house smells very, very good. It's, again, too bad that we don't have the ability to see and smell when we're doing those live demos, because if you could smell, you'd want to make the soup. It really is super easy, very, very nutritious, and quick. So you have a very healthy dinner that you can put on the table. This with a crusty piece of bread or a salad on the side, and it's a full meal because your red lentils are acting as your protein. So somebody on the chat asked me if I can use the soup pot for cooking other things. So if you're referring to my electric soup pot, I love it. Actually, don't know where to get one here, but I bought this one in the States. And I swear by it. It's actually super easy for my demonstration, but even just if I'm, if I'm cooking for the holiday and all my stovetop is full with other pots and I want to start on something, I take out my electric pot. I can make stews, I can make chilies, I can make soups, anything that you make in a regular pot, and it has settings. So it's degrees. I bring it up to whatever I want, and it has also a setting called warm. So when everything is finished to cook, and if I'm just about to serve dinner, but I don't want the food to get cold, I lower it to warm, and it just sits there until I'm ready to serve. So it's actually fantastic. The brand is Presto, Presto, and I'll show you the pot right now so you can actually have a view. I'm going to change the screen so that you can see my counter. And again, this is what the pot looks like. And here on the bottom, there's just a plug that you add. The plug goes in and out of that piece here, because you then get to put this in the sink and you can wash it completely because the electric part comes off. So now I'm going to bring it back to, I can't leave it on when I'm showing you because it's not long enough, but again, when I move it, I just put it in here in the piece and it starts to cook. Just ask the question on the chat because it's easier for me to hear you guys because there's echo when you unmute yourself. But if you have questions, then let me know. I've just continued to unmute everybody so that we can hear me properly. Again, if there's another question, let me know. Hopefully, Mona, that answers your question about the pot. Great, I see you smiling, so that's good. And if you want more information afterwards, or me to send you a picture, just connect with me and I'll do that for you. Again, like I said, you know, for busy moms, or also, I might want to add that this pot is great when we're going. So when we used to go with the kids camping, or we used to go on like a long weekend to the States, and we, you know, because we're kosher, I would always take a few things with me. I'd always take that pot because there's not always a stove where we're going, but there's always a plug and there's always a sink. So I would take my pot and I would be able to make pasta or anything in that pot, rinse it, and then use it again. So it's perfect. Great for camping and for excursions, especially if you're kosher. And if you have to, you know, bring the less things that I can bring, the better it is. And this is versatile, so it's perfect. So my soup is actually now boiling, and I'm going to reduce because the lentils, I don't want them to stick on the bottom. I don't want the ingredients to burn before they cook down. So I'm going to reduce the heat. Again, I'm going to go now low to medium heat, and I'm going to let the soup simmer. If you want the soup to be a little bit more chunky or have texture, cook it for about 15 to 20 minutes. And if you want to cook it a little bit longer, the pot that is behind me has been cooking for an hour. I turned it off now. Again, I was saying it was because I had marrow bones in it and I wanted to cook it a bit longer. But even if you're making parve and you want everything to cook down and everything to become more tender and flavorful, then cook it a little bit longer. That's what I do for my soups. We're going to put it on the side because there's a few things we're going to have to add afterwards, but I'm going to start with the salad. Now I have a question coming in. Do you add a teaspoon of sugar to cut down the acid from the tomato? No, I don't. The reason for the tomato sauce is to add a little bit of acid to this soup. We're actually going to add a little bit of lemon zest and lemon juice to it, which is going to be delicious. You can omit if you don't want, but I don't add the sugar. Carrots, when I already at the beginning, I sauteed the onion and the carrots. That step enabled the carrots to release their own natural sugars. So that's already flavoring the soup without me adding any to it. Now, if you want to cut down and you feel you want to add a little bit of sweetness, you can add the sugar, or you can add a little bit of honey, but you're going to see it's not going to really need it. And again, if you don't want to add tomato sauce or tomato puree, add a fresh tomato peeled and diced, or even add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and that's going to do the same thing as your cup of tomato sauce. So for the Mediterranean lentil salad, so that's what we're going to do now. Whoever printed, or if you guys printed the recipes, the title says Mediterranean lentil soup, but it's actually a lentil salad. I'm going to correct that on the website shortly. But again, we're making a Mediterranean lentil salad. For the lentil salad, I wanted to show you easy ways to eat healthy and to use legumes, because I feel that it's really, especially in the winter, we want to increase our consumption of protein, feel more full, and eat healthier. And by having canned beans or canned lentils, you can actually whip up a dinner very quickly, even if you're coming home from work, or if you just don't have any dried one. Those in your pantry are always really great to have. So I'm going to start by opening my can of lentil, rinsing it, and draining it. So I'm going to do that right now. I washed the top of my can already. It's always important to do that because the cans sit on the store shelves for a long time and they're very dusty and dirty. And I washed my herbs before. So I'm just gonna take them out of the strainer, and I'm going to rinse and take out the liquid of my lentils. We don't need any of the liquid, so I'm gonna disregard it. And I'm gonna let the lentils drain for a minute. Now, that brand is not my favorite brand, but I limit my outings lately, and I only like to go next to the house. And so normally, because I've lived so long in Ottawa, and I used to love to shop at Loblaws, which is your Provigo here. I love their no-name canned beans and canned legumes. You'll see the difference. The lentils in the no-name brand, or some of the other ones, are really whole and really beautiful. This brand, they're not so beautiful, but we're going to use that for today because that's what I found close to the house and that's what I have. So for the salad, we're going to need 1 can of lentils. We're going to need 1 shallot. So I'm just going to get that. Again, if you don't have shallots and you want to do the salad, you can substitute with a small red onion, or even just white onion, or even just green onion. So very flexible. Call it Mediterranean. It's just to add an oniony flavor. So feel free to substitute and what you have in your hand. Again, shallot, there's those French onion, pink looking kind of vegetable. I'm going to switch my view so that you guys can see what I'm doing on the counter. So again, just gonna move what I used for the soup. There we go. So I'm going to finely diced, because this is a salad and it's not gonna cook down. I want my pieces to be much smaller than the ones that I cut for the soup, because those are gonna stay raw and we're going to eat them. I myself do not like Spanish or yellow onions raw in my salad. So if I'm going to substitute, I'm more going to be inclined to substitute with a red onion, with a green onion, or even a white onion. They're easier to digest and to eat, less strong when you're eating them raw. So again, dicing finely my shallot. I'm going to reduce my soup. I feel it's too strong. There we go. It has a beautiful color. So what I'm going to do right now, just for the sake of the viewers, I want to show you the color of the soup. Look how beautiful. As you can see with the tomato sauce and the lentils and all the vegetable, it has a beautiful kind of a very deep orange color, and it already smells beautiful. And that not even having any chicken or any meat in it, and it already looks beautiful, smells beautiful. And like I said, it took like not much time. I mean, I spoke a lot, but within 10 minutes, your pot is cooking. 15 to 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, you have a very healthy meal. Again, you add a piece of crusty bread and a salad on the side, and it's complete. So for the lentil, I have my very finely diced shallot. I have a can of lentil that is that I rinsed, and that's draining. I'm just going to get a bowl so we can add all the ingredients to it. Get a bowl here. There we go. So I'm gonna use myself a very deep bowl because I want to have all my ingredients in there comfortably so that I'm able to mix it well after. So I have the addition of the canned lentils. I'm going to add the finely diced shallot. And I'm going to use 3 small Lebanese cucumber that I'm going to wash. I'm going to keep the peel on, and I'm going to also chop them very finely. So I'm going to take the ends off. There we go. I always keep on my counter what I call a scrap bowl. So put all my peels and everything, and it's just easy, and it's right on the side where I'm working. Then I don't have to go to the garbage pail or in the sink, and it's right there. If you're composting, then that goes straight in the compost. Some people freeze and make soup stock with it, and then after that they just strain it and use the broth. So there's different ways you can use your leftover peels. So I'm just chopping my cucumber finely. I cut it in 4. I took off the ends, and I'm making little dice that I'm going to add to the lentils and the shallot. So again, this is the size where you would like to have it, so that all of your ingredients in the salad have a bit the same. So what we're trying to achieve is, because if you know me, I always say you start by eating with your eyes. And so, right, I want you guys to enjoy with your eyes what you're seeing and want to eat it. So we're actually aiming to have color and to have also texture with the crunchiness of the cucumber. So color, crunchy, and flavor with the dressing that we're gonna add. So again, I'm continuing to chop the cucumbers. Don't hesitate to put comments or questions in your in the chat. The salad comes together very quickly because we're using canned lentils. But again, if you want to use raw or dried, lentils, go ahead and soak and rinse them. Cook them until they're tender, and then drain them and use them in the salad. So here I have 1 can drained and rinsed lentil. I have 3 Lebanese cucumbers diced. I have 1 small shallot finely minced, and I'm going to add 2 cups of baby spinach. Now the baby spinach, I'm going to chop, and I'm going to show you what I do with it. So I buy the spinach that's already pre-washed and ready to use. And I'm going to show you what I do with it. I'm going to use a clean bowl. So it calls for 2 cups of spinach. So roughly, I'm going to eyeball it because I know, but there it's packed baby spinach. And the easiest way I find to be able to chop, you can actually put them on the cutting board and chop it that way as well. But I take a kitchen shear and I just go to town in my bowl and I chop. It's easier, less mess. Actually, if you want to start with the spinach in the bowl before you add the lentils, it's actually a 1-bowl salad because you wouldn't even have to dirty a second bowl. You can go right ahead and chop your baby spinach in the bowl directly and add the other ingredients. So I'm going to continue to chop. And again, this enables you to as well chop finely or more coarsely, depending how big or how small you want the pieces. It's actually, you're in control when you're using this method. Now, I'm gonna want a little bit of chunky pieces, but I'm still gonna want to actually cut it down. So I'm gonna show you the consistency that I like. Try to mix it a little bit as you're going along, just so that you can chop even the pieces that are on the bottom. So there we go. As you can see, it took 2 seconds. I didn't dirty the cutting board and my spinach is chopped. So I'm gonna add that to, now I'm gonna just change the view to just show you, just talk to you just for a few minutes. I want to tell you a couple of things. Okay. If you're prepping the salad in the morning or in the early afternoon, but you're not going to eat it until the nighttime, don't chop your spinach. Wait, add your lentils, your cucumber, your shallots, prepare your dressing in a jar, and then at the last minute, chop your spinach, because your spinach is easily going to wilt and get soft and not as, you know, fresh and crispy when you're putting it together. And don't season it until you're ready. Now, I would like you to assemble and season it a little bit, you know, a few minutes before, so that the flavors get absorbed, but don't add your spinach until, or don't chop it and add it until you're ready to serve, so it stays fresh and crunchy. So we've added the lentils, the shallots, the cucumbers, and the spinach. Now we're going to add some pomegranates for color, because I said we eat with our eyes. So we're gonna have the red jewels of the pomegranate, and it calls for 1 pomegranate. Actually, this is half a pomegranate. Is going to be sufficient for me, just because not all of them like the texture, but when I don't put too many, they like it. So I'm going to just continue my last little piece and add a few of the pomegranate seeds in my bowl, and then I'm going to add that to, it's actually quite a big pomegranate that I found. So that's why I'm also not putting a whole pomegranate, just because I don't want it to be the main ingredient in the salad. Okay. There we go. There we go. So I've removed all the white little pieces that fell. I'm going to show you what that yields. Again, it's a big pomegranate, so I'm only using half of it, but I'm going to add that as well to the salad. And now it calls for 1 cup of mixed herbs. So I'm going to use, hold on, let me just go back to look at you guys. Hi, everybody. So I'm going to use parsley, cilantro or coriander, and mint. And I'm going to chop all of that and make 1 cup of herb that I'm going to add to my salad. So I've pre-washed my herbs. I'm going to take, again, I do a rough sort of estimate. So there's parsley, cilantro, and where's my mint? My mint is here. My mint is already ready. I'm just going to give it a final rinse. There we go. Okay, so I have a little packet. Let me just admit I have here. Hold on. There we go. I think somebody just joined us. If you're joining us, oh, there's Jared. There's I don't know if they can see me. Somebody just joined us, a longtime friend from Ottawa. I don't know if you can see me. I'm waving. Hello. So we're in the process of making, hi, I'm in the process of making red lentil soup and a lentil salad. We're going to chop now the fresh herbs that are going to go in the salad. I'm going to change again the view so that you guys could see my counter and see what I'm making. So let me replace the view. Okay, so right now in the bowl, I have 1 cup, 1 can of lentil. I have 3 Lebanese cucumber chopped. I have 1 shallot finely minced. I also have the seeds of 1 pomegranate. I had a very big pomegranate, so I put only half of it inside. And I have 2 cups of baby spinach that I roughly chopped. Right now, I'm going to chop about 1 cup of fresh herbs. I chose to mix parsley, cilantro, and mint. And I'm going to show you another trick of mine. So to ease the chopping of the herbs, I stick all my herbs in a cup. And I take my scissors, and again, I go to town. I find that when you chop your herbs on the counter, I mean, you can chop them, but then you have to transfer them inside, and some of it stays on the cutting board. I mean, you do need good cooking shears, but I'm going to show you. Then as well, you do the same as the spinach. If you want a rough chop, then you'd stop now. I mean, you could see there's still some pieces. I wanted more finely diced or finely chopped, so I'm going to continue. Make sure you go to the bottom, so even the bottom of your cup is the herbs are chopped. There we go. So I'm going to show you with a spoon. Hopefully you can get a better idea. But look at that. My herbs are really finely chopped. I didn't dirty my cutting board, and I can actually then judge how much I want to use, and whatever's left stays in the cup, and I can just keep it and use it after for another plate. So right now, as you can see, it smells very good because by using the shears, it released all the flavors of the herbs, and I can smell the mint, the cilantro, the parsley. Just really beautiful in terms of how it smells. So again, you can take start mixing already a little bit your salad. We are going to mix it a bit more when we add the seasoning. But right now, I just want to show you all the beautiful colors. Bring up the lentils from the bottom. And I didn't even season the salad. I already want to eat it because I look at it and it's beautiful. And second of all, I smell it because the herbs are very fragrant. And just by cutting it with the scissors, it just was really beautiful and really easy to do. So there we go. I have everything mixed. And now we're going to go to the dressing. So for the dressing, I myself like to take a jar to prepare my dressing. So I have, glass jars. So in the jar, I'm going to put 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. So I'm going to get my measure. So 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. Again, if you're going to prep this salad for dinner and you're doing it during the day, don't go ahead and season it, or don't add your fresh herbs and your spinach until closer to the time that you're going to be ready to serve it, so that by cutting it right before you serve it, it's going to be really fresh. So I have 1/3 of a cup of oil. Then I'm going to add to that 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Now, the recipe doesn't ask for zest, but I like to add lemon zest to this dressing. So I'm just going to first, before I take the juice, I'm going to put a little bit of lemon zest. It's going to add so much flavor to the salad, and it's going to be really tasty and delicious. And just by zesting the lemon, it again releases all the juices, the oils and the flavors, and I can smell it, and it really makes me want to eat the salad right away. So I'm going to now put 1/4 cup of lemon juice. So I'm gonna roughly measure, it's about the juice of 1 lemon, depending how big your lemon is. So 1/4 cup is, like I said, about the juice of 1 large lemon. So I'm right now juicing the lemon that I zested earlier, and I'm going to add it. I use my finger to catch all the seeds, and right now in my jar I have 1/4 cup of lemon juice and 1/3 of a cup of so somebody asked me a question about the herbs. They said, do you use the leaves or the stems, or both? Because I chop them very, very finely, I use the stems and the leaves. I find that a lot of the flavor is in the stems, and I don't discard them. Now, if you don't like them, the stems of the parsley and the cilantro, I'm just going to talk to you guys just for a minute. But the stems of the parsley and the cilantro has a lot of flavor, but it also acts as a barrier on the bottom of your pot when you're cooking. So when I make my Moroccan Shabbat fish, or when I cook something that calls for parsley or cilantro, I take the ends or the stems like this, let's say that. That's gold to me. This is really very precious. I put that on the bottom of my pan that I'm using to cook, let's say, my Moroccan fish or whatever. I put that on the bottom with whatever else I'm going to put, if it's red peppers or tomatoes or garlic. And then I put my fish. Not only does it flavor my sauce, but my fish is never going to stick on the bottom, because even if I want to cook it down until it's just a little bit of the oil and all the water has evaporated, but it's starting to caramelize on the bottom and I don't want my fish to burn, this is always going to be my sort of barrier, but it's going to flavor my pot really, really nicely. So always use your stems. Don't discard them. They're really, really flavorful. So right now I'm going to add to my dressing 2 teaspoons of date syrup, so Ceylon. Now, if you don't have date syrup, you can add honey or maple syrup, but I'm going to add date syrup because this is a Mediterranean salad and we're going to keep with the Mediterranean flavor. So I'm just going to go get my date syrup. So date syrup is called Ceylon. It's a very dark, deep color. It's beautiful. Resembles more maple syrup than honey. I'm going to change the view and show you what it looks like. There you go. So you can see very dark. It looks like even the color of molasses, but it's the consistency a little bit thicker than maple syrup. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 teaspoons of date syrup. That's going to be my sweetener in my dressing. But again, substitute for maple syrup or honey. Then I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of cumin. Again, adjust if you don't like. Oops, I put it in the salad, but doesn't matter. You want to put it in the seasoning. Then I need 1 teaspoon paprika. Okay, 1 teaspoon paprika. And you're going to want 1 garlic clove crushed. There's my garlic. Where's my garlic clove? There it is. So 1 garlic clove crushed. So I'm just adding 1 clove of garlic crushed. Then I'm going to need salt and pepper to taste. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to mix my dressing. Again, it has a beautiful deep color from all the seasonings. I'm going to add that to my salad. I didn't add salt and pepper yet. I'm going to taste it first. And then I'm going to add, because sometimes I just like it like that and I avoid adding any salt. Let me just get out of here and into my other view. So as you can see, my salad is all ready. I'm going to go back to see you guys. I don't know if you have any questions. I am going to myself taste it to see if it needs any salt. It's delicious. It's really, really yummy. So I even feel that it needs a tiny bit more lemon. Sorry. Let me just grab a little bit of water. So I think it needs a little bit more lemon juice. So I'm going to add some lemon juice. And I'm going to mix it. So I'm going to show you again what it looks like. There we go. So as you can see, the salad is very colorful, but it's actually even more delicious than it looks. It's really tasty with the herbs. You taste the mint, the cilantro, the parsley. You have the texture of the cucumber and the spinach and the pomegranate. And then with the addition of the lemon zest, it's really, really beautiful. I'm just going to put it on the side and I'm going to show you what's happening with the soup. So I'm just going to put this away so I can show you what the soup looks like when it's finished cooking. Now I didn't blend it. I'm going to show it to you as is. And I'm going to mix it and show you. This one is with the bone broth, but the color is going to be roughly the same when I'm done with the other one. I'm just going to take this and show you a little bit the consistency. So if I want a more smooth consistency, I'm going to blend it. This one I've put closer to 8 cups, so it's the true recipe and more liquidy. I'm going to leave it like that and not blend it. It's really rich and very tasty. The other one, I'm going to show you the one that we made just now. That one I made with less water. That one I did not use any of the bones. I just used water. This one I want to blend, so I put less water because I want that to have more of a thick consistency. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you. I'm going to remove the bay leaves. And I'm going to use a hand blender and I'm going to show you what it looks like when if I can find the second bay leaf. I think I saw it, but it's hiding on me. And I don't want to blend. There it is. There you are. You were hiding on me. Okay. So I'm going to go get my hand blender. I find this is the easiest way to puree your soup. "15, 20 minutes and my soup is ready. I'm going to just go ahead. Now, you can blend a little or you can blend a lot. When you blend a little, you're still going to have a little bit of chunks. You blend a lot, it's going to be just really smooth. Again, if you want to blend it and get the soup to be smooth, keep it to 6 cups of water or broth. The one that I showed you before is a bit more of a soup, more liquidy. I don't want to blend it, so I want to have a little bit more of a soup base to it. So I have another question. Somebody's asking me, what can you substitute pomegranate for? So that's a great question, because pomegranate, not everybody likes, but it's not also in season all the time. So you can substitute with, actually, you could even go with quartered clementines or oranges, just like the, make some whole pieces. I have a blank. And then you can also use, if you want it sweeter, you can use dried cranberries. So the possibilities are endless. That soup is, that salad, I mean, is even good with pieces of pears or green apple. So just be creative and use what you have in the house. Again, I'm going to show you now that I pureed the soup. Look at the consistency. It's smooth. It's really beautiful. It looks like a vegetable soup, but you have the addition of the lentils giving you a protein and the iron, and it's really, really, really nice. It smells very good. So again, 2 ways. Smooth, then only limit to 6 cups. And if you want to leave it whole and leave the chunks and the soup as is, put a little bit more of the liquid, and then serve it as a soup. As you can see, even this one still has a delicious flavor and look to it. But then when you're going to eat it, you're going to feel a little bit of your carrot chunks and your addition and your vegetable. Always remember to remove your bay leaves before you serve the soup, because the bay leaves, they are not edible. You can't eat them. There we go. Okay, so just to resume, we did Mediterranean lentil salad, and we did red lentil soup. I did a lot of talking, but under 30 minutes, you can do all of that, because while your soup is cooking, your salad can be prepped, and you have a delicious supper with a piece of baguette or sourdough bread or something crusty to dunk in the soup. So I hope you're going to try those recipes, because I know you're going to love them. I thank everybody for joining me again. I'll post the replay of the video so you'll be able to see it. I'll correct the little mistake that's on the recipe of the salad on the website, and you'll be able to print the recipes if you visit the synagogue website, the Spanish and Portuguese website. I'll be posting as well the soups and ingredients and recipes for next week's Soup Inside last demonstration for that series. And I'll keep you guys informed and posted what my next topic is going to be. Next week, I'll have, again, a nice Soup Inside to show you. So again, I want to thank you guys for joining me. I look forward to my 2 o'clock Thursday meetup with you guys, because I can't have anybody over, and because we can't get together at the synagogue or outside. It's always nice to look forward to my date with you guys. I see your beautiful faces. I see your smiles. Send me some of your comments if you want me to show you after I finish the Soup Inside series, if you have any requests of dishes and plates and sort of things that you would like me to show you. I know that in the past we've done several other lives where I've shown you how to do challahs and cookies and some Moroccan dishes, but I'd be delighted to show you again and to do other cooking demos. I want to wish all of you guys Shabbat Shalom. I love seeing your faces. Continue to follow Daniel and myself on Facebook and on Zoom, attend the services and the programs. We have plenty things coming up. I probably will do a live on Facebook or even on Zoom for Purim, where I'll show everybody how to make hamantashen, because a few of you have requested that. But I'll keep you guys posted. Please friend us on Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Muriel Suissa, or Cantor Benlolo, he's Danny Benlolo, or through the synagogue. And I'll be posting the information there so you keep informed. But again, I hope that I'm going to get to see you guys next Thursday at 2 o'clock. In the meantime, be safe. Shabbat Shalom. I send you lots of virtual hugs.